All right, gang, this is Chapter 6, Management and Leadership. I want you to focus in on the 4 functions of management when I cover that slide, and also the different types of leadership styles. Management and leadership are different things. Leaders are responsible for setting the future vision of the company and moving the company towards change, towards the future, whereas managers provide the structure to accommodate and execute that vision. We see a couple of female CEOs in this slide, and if you're wondering why does Mr. Scharf keep putting diversity pictures and examples in his lectures, primarily it's because the Fortune 500 companies, the large, biggest businesses, have a pretty poor track record on diversity, particularly in the upper level, senior level executive positions in the company. So when I can highlight and talk about some rock stars in the diversity space, I always want to feature those. So to that point, on the right, we have Stacy Brown-Philpott. She's the CEO of TaskRabbit. TaskRabbit essentially was the first tech company to start the gig economy and support gig workers. Stacy sold TaskRabbit this year in June to IKEA and stepped down as her role as CEO of that company. She's also on the board of Hewlett-Packard and Nordstrom. She was raised by a single mother, grew up in Detroit, and went to Stanford and then Wharton from there. So she is well known in Silicon Valley as one of the trailblazers and one of the few female Black CEOs in the tech space. On the left is Patricia Mota. She's 38 years old from East Chicago, and she is known as the CEO and president of the Hispanic Alliance for Career Enhancement, and she is a tireless champion for getting the Latinx community access to higher level training and education programs for career advancement. So management and leadership is tough. These folks are usually well compensated because they have a lot of pressure to perform, particularly if you're in a publicly traded company. You are reporting to the board of directors, and your continued employment demands performance. They're well compensated, but the expectations are very high. The next series of slides are specific to employment data for management positions. Now, this is in North County, San Diego, run by the MiraCosta College Career Center. This is for operations managers, and those folks are not senior level CEO, VP executive positions. These are folks who manage the frontline employees, like if you're the manager of a retail space or a grocery store, that would be an operations manager. So the pay scales listed here are lower. I'm going to go ahead and advance through these slides. If you want to look at any of the links in this video lecture, go back to the resource page and click on the Google Slides Only, non-video, Slides Only link in that version of the lecture where you can get all the links. On this slide on the right, you see the 5 steps of management, going through setting standards and goals, to performance against actual, and then corrective action. Management deals with a lot of crisis communication and crisis scenarios. If you go to the slides only version of this lecture, you'll see an example where Domino's was in the news for employees messing with pizzas, and it went viral as a YouTube video, and the CEO had to come out and issue a public response to that situation. So senior level executives are very visible with the public, and they're the main representatives of the 4 functions of management. You see it's highlighted because it is going to be on an exam, and you can see the links down here at the bottom, 4 functions of management, if you wanted to click on that link. The 4 functions are plan, lead, organize, and control, and each of those functions is different. Senior level executives, a large percent of their time is spent on conceptual thinking, which means they are looking into the crystal ball with a big picture as to where the company needs to go. They also have strong what we call human EQ touch, which is the ability to communicate and interact and motivate people. And they're also savvy on tech. So the human, tech, and conceptual skills are all kind of equally weighted as skill sets you need to be a senior level executive. For the planning piece, you start with the main objective I want to get my degree in X years, or I want to go to UC Berkeley, whatever that is. That's your objective, and then you work backwards through strategies and specific tactics to get there. So I guess what I'm telling you is when we're in the business arena, when we talk about strategies and objectives and tactics, they're all different things. Objectives are very broad. It's a vision, like a vision board. I want to do this. I want to get there. Strategies are broad steps with timelines to them. And then tactics are shorter individual things we need to do this year to help support those goals. So for example, when I was at Jack in the Box, the CEO of the company had the objective of wanting Jack in the Box to be the largest fast food chain in the Southwest region of the United States. That was the objective. And the strategies that were going to do that, one of the main strategies was we were going to improve our premium burger platform and get off of regular old beef and go with high-end sirloin burgers and ciabatta. So improve our premium platform. And they write a bunch of tactics under that, like launch X number of new products this year in the premium category, hire some new product managers with experience with premium product lines. Another strategy was increasing our breakfast incentive sales against competitors, and that was my category, breakfast. Tactics under that, we're launching specific products. So objectives are at the top, a broad goal, a vision, a dream. Strategies are big moves that we're going to do to reach that vision. And then tactics are specific steps, hire X number of people, launch X number of products, specific. But as far as managers in their planning function, planning can be strategic planning, tactical planning, operational planning, or contingency planning. And you need to do all four. So when I was a product manager at Jack in the Box, the CEO would lay out the strategic goal for the company. We want to increase the breakfast category sales by 10% over the next 3 years. Tactics to do that, we're going to launch 3 new breakfast products over the next 16 months. Operational is actually scheduling it out and getting the support staff, training, marketing, etc., to launch those new products. And then the contingency is the backup plan. In the event that we can't launch a product or something goes sideways, our backup plan is this. So contingency plans, as you can imagine, in the era of COVID-19 are especially important as part of the management role. And many companies don't do much contingency planning, which is in the event of, fill in the blank, a pandemic, or in the event of a loss of our technology platform, or in the event of that you have some type of contingency backup plan. In the case of the Jack in the Box, our contingency plan was mostly around suppliers. In the event that there is hurricanes in the southeast, where most of our chicken manufacturers are, our contingency backup suppliers are located here, and we can use them if need be. So you need to have all 4 of those from the planning phase. So management will do this. So the CEO of the company might be setting the vision. They're kind of leading where the company's going to go. And then senior level management beneath the chief executive officer is coming up with these plans to do that. Planning is usually SMART, specific, measurable, meaning increase sales by 5%, applicable, realistic, can we do it? If it's not realistic, then it's more of a vision than a goal, and time bound by 2022. SMART goal. So management creates structure to support and enable change for the company, new direction for the company. The president or the CEO of the company is oftentimes the leader that is focusing on the future of the organization and where the organization needs to go. Look at somebody like Elon Musk, and he's making electric cars, but he's also got SpaceX going and all kinds of new technology platforms. So he's not the day-to-day manager planning it all out. he's the leader of the company, setting the leadership and the long-term vision for the company. And then management underneath him sets the structure to accomplish the vision of that leader. Plan, lead, organize. The organize piece, and this might flow down from the chief executive officer to the vice presidents to directors or managers, kind of what we would call mid-level managers, where they're actually coordinating and allocating resources. That might mean hiring new employees if you want to go in a new business direction, purchasing new resources, like a Jack in the Box anytime we launched a new product. When I launched the ciabatta breakfast sandwich and we were now using ciabatta bread, which we hadn't used before, we had to find a ciabatta bread manufacturing plant that could handle our volume and set that up. Mid-level managers oftentimes do the organization piece, coordinating and allocating resources. Here you see the tech titan. So these are the large trillion-dollar plus companies in the technology space. You've got from the left to the right, Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, Jeff Bezos of Amazon, Sundar Pichai, Google, and Tim Cook of Apple. Tim Cook being the first openly gay male CEO in a Fortune 500 company. In the upper right, you have Martine Rothblatt, the first transgender CEO of a Fortune 500 company, of United Therapeutics, a company that Martine founded after her daughter came down with a rare lung disease. Martine also launched Sirius Satellite Radio and was the founder of that business. And Martine is the highest paid female CEO in America. Also married with children and has came out at the age of 40 as transgender and has been with his wife for 38 years. On the bottom there is Beth Ford, the first openly gay female CEO in America, and she oversees Land O'Lakes, the dairy company. We look at management styles, and when we look at the upper levels of business, they are becoming more diverse, but they still have a long ways to go. Autocratic, participative, and laissez-faire. An autocratic management style is top-down. Do as I say, not as I do. The military is an example, and sports teams are an example. Execute the play. We're not having a lot of collaboration about it. The coaches make the call. In the military, the senior officer makes the call, and you follow those orders. So some companies that need a lot of control would have an autocratic style. Package delivery, FedEx, is fairly autocratic, very top-down and linear in what you do, and employees' movements are actually managed and dictated down to how they hold their keys and how they exit the delivery vans. Participative, like a Google, where people work in these cross-functional teams, long-term teams of people that kind of work as a group. They don't have a direct boss. They share in the decision-making process, or it's an employee-owned company. It's a participative company where collaboration is essential to the success and happiness of the company and its employees. And we see this a lot in the tech. Laissez-faire, French term, let it be basically, but laissez-faire, free reign. The management is kind of separate from the employees and they don't get involved unless asked. So the employees kind of run the show, and that would be like before HMOs in healthcare. And still actually community colleges are a good example of that, because the teachers actually make all of the management decisions of the college. They don't do the administration, but they are responsible for hiring of new faculty, setting the courses and programs, grading policies, student services. All of that is actually through the teachers and the union. So what type of management style and leadership style is best? It depends on what type of company you have and what you need. So you can see in this slide, and this is going to be the last slide that I want to talk about, a comparison of management styles. On the left, you have very autocratic, high level of control. And on the right, you have free reign, lower level of control. Which one would you rather work for? And what do you think is best for your corporate companion company that you've selected? Now, on the following slides, you will see a couple of discussion points. I'm sorry, I actually do have a few more slides to cover on the following slide. I mentioned this earlier, but your skills as a manager, you need to have a combo of technical, human, and conceptual skills. The technical skills are you have to be good with technology nowadays, so you have to be able to navigate things like Zoom and all the technology that we use. You also have to have the high human EQ, emotional intelligence quotient, so that you can marshal employees and motivate folks to work for you and communicate well with people. And you have to have the conceptual big picture skills for strategic thinking. What's happening in management nowadays? They're spending a lot of time on crisis management. Certainly the pandemic is that, but we're seeing a more rapid response in companies having to continuously respond to crises, not just pandemic, but things like race relations and environmental issues. Companies are more under the microscope, and that's a good thing. Also, information technology is now central for all businesses. Even if you're just a hardware store, you're going to be reliant on information technology. Most large companies now are global, meaning you have operations outside of just your home domestic country. And data is essential. The ability to gather and interpret and make management decisions based on data is essential. So this discussion, if you are in a fully online asynchronous class where we don't meet live, then for this discussion, I just want you to pause and reflect on this. If you were a manager and you had a crew of retail employees that reported to you at your store, how would you keep their morale high? What do you think are some things that would improve employee morale in a retail location? For those of us in the synchronous class where we are meeting live, we will do this as a Zoom breakout. When retail workers have stable schedules, both sales and productivity goes up because they're able to fall into a routine and learn their position better and have some comfortability and predictability in their job. Actually is a large increase of productivity and sales and happiness for employees in the retail space. So you can click on the link on this slide in the Google Slides version if you want to read this article. The second question here is going to be your Canvas assignment. So whether you're in the synchronous or asynchronous, meeting live or fully online, no live meetings class, this is your Canvas discussion assignment, and it's around this concept of open book management. So I'll give you a little bit of information to support you with this assignment. The first question asks you, what are the 3 structural elements that need to be in place to become an open book management company? Open book management means everybody in the company knows the financial performance of the company, even down to everybody else's salaries. So you know what your cube mate makes, you know what the person across the hallway makes, and they know what you make. So open book management is open finances. Everybody has access to the balance sheet, income statement, statement of cash flows. You might think, yeah, they can access that anyways, can't they? As an employee, you can download those from a financial site. Yes, you can, but in an open book management company, it's not just that you have access to the financial statements, but also that you are trained how to read those financial statements, whether you're a mailroom employee or the CEO of the company. You've been trained on financial statements, and you know how your position and the decisions you make in your position impact the financial performance of the company. So they also have to have not only access to the financial statements and be trained on the financial statements. The third component of an OBM company is they have to be incentivized to make decisions that are helpful for the financial welfare of the company. So many OBM companies are employee owned, or at least employees have a profit sharing program where if the company's profitable, those employees get a portion of those companies' profits. Those employees also get a portion of the company's losses. So in the event that the company's not profitable and you're an employee, if you don't make profit that year and it impacts your salary, you're making less money. So there's two sides to an OBM company. You're a part employee owner, but you're assuming not only the rewards of profit, but also the risks of losses. So the other questions, 2, 3, 4, and 5, you can work on those on your own. All right, I'm going to stop this lecture there. Thanks for listening. Make sure you check out Canvas for your work related to this chapter. Thanks for listening.